Welcome back, Game Changers, to another transformative edition of the GameChanger Perspective Podcast 2.0. I am your host, Oscar J. Starr III, or call me Oscar. And today's episode dives deep into the foundation of leadership that resonates, inspires, and lasts. That is, authentic leadership. In a world where followers are growing weary of polished personas and rehearsed empathy, authenticity is no longer a buzzword. Okay? It is a necessity. And at the heart of authentic leadership lie two profound pillars: integrity and emotional intelligence. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to my listening audience, today we're uncovering what it truly means to lead with honesty, heart, and human connection. Let's get started in our first segment: the power of being real. Let's be honest for a second, all right? We all know that people can spot a fake a mile away. We know that, all right? However, authentic leaders don't wear masks. They wear their values. So if you're out there, hear me well, okay? Authentic leaders, we don't wear masks, okay? We wear values. That's the difference, okay? We just don't talk the talk. We live it day in and day out. Okay, so if you're a leader out there, you're an entrepreneur, you're a supervisor, team lead, whoever you are, whatever you're doing in your profession, understand that authenticity counts when it comes to leadership. Okay, authenticity counts when it comes to leadership. All right. So here's the expert insight. According to Harvard Business School professor Bill George, he says this. Okay, authentic leaders genuinely desire to serve others through their leadership. Okay, real leaders, authentic leaders, genuinely desire to serve others. So if you're in a position of leadership, you have to have the desire to lead, to serve others. Okay, serve others. That's what we're supposed to do. That's our responsibility as leaders, is to have the desire to serve other people. So we as leaders should not make things about ourselves, but about everybody else that we serve that's working with us as well as for us. Okay? Cool? Cool. So he also states they are more interested in empowering the people they lead than in their own personal power, status, or financial reward. Hear me well. Says again. They are more interested in empowering the people they lead. All right? We, you, the person out there, hear me well again, who is a leader, who is in a position of a leadership role, has to understand that you have to be more interested in empowering the people, okay, that you lead rather than your own personal power. In other words, whatever personal power you have, put it to the side and empower the people that you're leading and whatnot. Because leadership is not only just a title itself, but it's what you do. It's not who you are, it's what you do. Okay? You as a leader has to understand that. You in a position of leadership has to understand that. That is you have to empower the people, all right, that you lead rather than your own personal power, whatever your status is, and financial reward, money, financial status, social status, whatever the case may be. Okay? Now, this kind of leadership, hear me well, isn't built overnight. Okay? Authentic leadership is not built overnight. It's not something that you have to build overnight. Okay? It is crafted through consistent decisions that align with who you are even when no one is watching. Okay? I'll say this again. All right? This kind of leadership is not built overnight. It's crafted through consistent decisions that align with who you are, even when no one, in other words, even when no one's watching, you are who you are as a leader, okay? It's crafted, all right? So, let's dive into our second segment today on this podcast. Okay. And for those who are joining us, welcome to the GameChanger Perspective Podcast 2.0, okay? And I'm Oscar Starr, okay? So, we're going to dive into this again. For those who just joined the podcast, all right? We're talking about authentic leadership in episode 2, okay? So, the second segment, we're going to talk about integrity, all right? The backbone of leadership. Hear me well. Some of us know some of us know what integrity means and what the definition is. But I'm going to give you the nitty gritty of the word integrity, okay? Integrity is the foundation of every authentic leader. It's not about being perfect. You hear me? Integrity is the foundation of every authentic leader that is out there. Hear me well again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's not about being perfect. I'm sorry to bust your bubble out there for those who think being a leader is trying to be perfect. You're not perfect. It's not about perfection, okay? It's about being trustworthy, dependable, and most of all, morally grounded. Okay? You have to have the morals to be able to have the attribute of an authentic leader. Okay? You have to have the moral standing to be the authentic leader that you are, that you're supposed to be. Okay? Like I said, once again, hear me well. If you want to take notes, fine. It's not about being perfect. It's about being trustworthy, someone who can trust you, dependable, the people who can depend on you as a leader, whatnot, and morally grounded. Morals. Some leaders do have morals. Some are not morally grounded. That's okay. But get some leaders out there who are morally grounded, who are dependable, and who are trustworthy. And if you are one of these, have one of these attributes of all three of them, I applaud you. Because being an authentic leader is not a walk in the park, okay? It's not an easy lifestyle for you or anybody else for that matter who are leaders out there. But the attributes truly speak for who you are, as I said in this segment right here, okay? Gotta remember, like I said, integrity is the backbone of leadership. Without integrity being the backbone of leadership, you don't have nothing, okay? Hear me well. Without integrity, what's the point of you having a backbone of leadership if you don't have any integrity at all? Because integrity, as we all know, integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching you. That's integrity. So if you have integrity as an authentic leader, I applaud you. If you don't have integrity as a leader, something you have to work on. Okay? Work on that. All right? Here's another expert quote. Hear me well. Leadership expert and author John C. Maxwell says it well. Image is what people think we are. Integrity is what we really are. So it's not all about your image all the time. Yes, image plays a role in who you are as a leader or, in your position, in leadership. But integrity is what you really are. Once you have integrity, then your image can be conducive to who you are as a leader. All right? When you lead with integrity, you are something that no title can give you. That is respect. Okay? And that respect creates influence, which is the true measure of leadership. Okay? Say this again. When you lead with integrity, you earn something that no title can give you. That is respect. All right? Respect what counts in being an authentic leader, okay? Without respect, you have nothing at all, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Nothing at all. You have nothing. All right? So, and that respect creates influence. Remember that. Respect creates influence. All right? Which is the true measure of leadership. If all else that you cannot achieve as an authentic leader, remember these words right here. Like I said, respect creates influence, which is the true measure of leadership. All right. For our third segment today, this afternoon, on this beautiful Saturday here in Houston, Texas, we're going to talk about emotional intelligence. Now, I never heard of emotional intelligence up until about 5 years ago. And I found out that emotional intelligence counts the most more than anything, whatever you want, more than anything, especially as a leader, especially as an employee or a team member. Okay? Emotional intelligence leading with heart. Okay? Emotional intelligence isn't soft, it's strategic. It's the superpower that allows leaders to connect, empathize, and adapt. All right? Hear me well. Say this again. Emotional intelligence, or EI, isn't soft. It's strategic. It's the superpower that allows leaders to connect, empathize, and adapt. All right? Daniel Goleman, the psychologist who popularized the concept, once said, in a very real sense, we have two minds, one that thinks and one that feels. Emotional intelligence is the ability to bring them into harmony. Okay? Say this again. This quote by Daniel Goleman, 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 the psychologist who popularized the concept, once said, in a very real sense, we have two minds. Okay? One that thinks, think about it. One that feels. Deep, isn't it? Something for you to think about. Emotional intelligence, once it comes into play, is the ability to bring them into harmony, to have them synchronize together as one. Okay? Authentic leaders use this harmony to listen actively, respond thoughtfully, and build genuine rapport. It's how you turn teams into communities and employees into advocates. You hear me? Are you listening out there? Hear me well. Let me say this one more time. Okay? Authentic leaders use this harmony to actively listen. All right? Or to listen actively. All right? The first thing you do as a leader, you listen actively. You listen. Because some leaders out there listen to respond rather to listen to comprehend. Okay? There's a difference. All right? Respond thoughtfully. It's all about your response and how you respond to certain situations or certain things you encounter as a leader. Okay? Certain things, certain, you have to respond to them thoughtfully. In other words, you have to put thought into your response because sometimes as a leader, you have to be careful how you respond and what you respond to. Because sometimes you might respond in the wrong way that might rub the person all wrong or your team member all wrong. So you have to be careful with your words as a leader, okay? And build genuine rapport, okay? Rapport, okay? So, but that's how you turn teams into communities and employees into advocates, okay? Advocates, all right? So, for those who are joining us again, good afternoon and welcome to the GameChanger Perspective Podcast 2.0. And we're discussing today's episode 2 of keys to authentic leadership. Okay? Thank you for joining us today. In our fourth segment, we're going to talk about the Authentic Leaders Toolkit. All right? So I need you to do me a favor out there. It's time, I want for you to take notes, grab your pen, paper, or your use your notes app on your favorite device or iPad or tablet. Okay. This is something I would like for you to write down and retain. Okay. So the question is, how do you grow as an authentic leader? Start with these game changer moves, okay? The first thing I would like for you to write down, okay, pardon me, self-reflect regularly, okay? Know your values, your triggers, and your purpose, all right? Self-evaluate regularly. Know your values, your triggers, and your purpose, okay? The second thing I want to talk to you about, and I want you to write this down as well. Practice radical honesty. Ooh. Let me say this again. Practice radical honesty. In other words, you have to be honest. Being honest is a part of having integrity out there. Okay? Be truthful even when it's uncomfortable. And when you think it's unpopular. Be truthful no matter what. That's how authentic leadership is about. Is being honest. All right? Let me say this one more time. Practice radical honesty. Okay? Be truthful even when it's uncomfortable. Okay? Number 3, cultivate empathy. All right? Cultivate empathy. In other words, listen, like I said, to understand or comprehend, not just to respond. Empathy is a part of one of the keys of authentic leadership. Okay? Empathy. All right? And speaking on empathy, while we're on this topic, today um, was the official release of my latest book, The Empathetic Edge. Okay? Available on Amazon, Amazon Kindle, hardcover, and paperback edition. This particular book goes into detail and it speaks about emotional intelligence and having empathy in your leadership roles. Okay? The book title is The Empathetic Edge, available on Amazon Kindle, paperback, and hardcover. Okay? So, Once again, cultivate empathy. All right. Listen to respond, listen to understand, not just to respond. Okay. Number 4, and this gonna ruffle some feathers right here. Okay. Number 4, hold yourself accountable. Integrity shows when you own your missteps. Uh-oh. Can't you hear me out there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Hold yourself accountable. Accountability is one of the keys to authentic leadership. Accountability matters. Whether if you want to understand it or not, accountability matters. Okay? But integrity shows when you own your missteps. All right? Number 5, lead with consistency. In other words, let your actions match your principles in all environments. Okay? Lead with consistency. Be consistent in everything you do. Let your actions line up with your principles in all environments, not just one particular environment that you encounter, but in every single environment that you encounter, all of them. We have to understand to stop using selective environments to lead with consistency. We have to lead with consistency and allow our actions to align with our principles in every single environment. Okay? These are the tools that separate influencers from real impact makers. Okay? Let me say this again. These are the tools that separate influencers from real impact makers. Okay? Now, our final segment for today. We have a game changer Q&A. So, let's get a couple of quick FAQs from our community, okay? Question been asked: can someone learn to be authentic, or is it just who you are? Here's the answer. Authenticity is absolutely learnable, okay? Being authentic is not birth, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's learnable. It's something you can learn. Never get to a point in your life where you're, you know, too good to learn how to be authentic, or too big in who you are, your role as a leader, to be, to learn authenticity. Okay, it begins with self awareness and grows through intentional action. Okay, it begins with self awareness and grows through intentional action. Okay, the more aligned you are with your core values, the more naturally authenticity flows. Okay, let me say this one more time. The more aligned you are with your core values, the more naturally authenticity flows. All right. Next question we have: what's the biggest mistake leaders make when trying to be authentic? Answer is simple: trying too hard. Here's a piece of advice I want to offer to you out there, to my listening audience. When it comes to being authentic, don't try too hard, or you're going to fail admirably. Okay. Authenticity doesn't mean oversharing or being casual. Okay. It's about being grounded, not performative. Stay true, not trendy. Let me say this again out there. Let me say it louder for the people in the back of the audience. Okay. Authenticity doesn't mean oversharing or being casual. It's about being grounded, not performative. Stay true, not trendy. Okay? Final question. How do I stay authentic under pressure? Answer. Anchor yourself in your values before the pressure hits. Okay? Anchor yourself in your true values before the pressure hits. Okay? When challenges arise, let those values guide your decisions, not fear or ego. Okay? One more time. When challenges arise, let those values guide your decisions, not fear or ego. All right? Final thought. Last segment for today. And I'm out of here. Something I want you all to take with you today from this podcast. If you had not learned anything else, here's what I want to leave you today as a final thought. Okay? Authentic leadership isn't a style. It's a commitment. Okay? A commitment that you must have. A commitment you must hold on to. A commitment to integrity. Okay? A commitment to emotional intelligence. A commitment to lead, not by force, but by example. Let me say this one more time. Authentic leadership isn't a style. It's a commitment to integrity, a commitment to emotional intelligence, a commitment to lead, not by force, but by example. As we move forward in this leadership journey, remember, you don't have to be perfect to be powerful, okay? You just have to be real, okay? Hear me well. If you're listening out there, okay? Remember, you don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You do not, okay? You have to be real. And being real is a very good thing. Until next time, stay grounded, lead boldly, and never forget, you are the game changer the world has been waiting for. Let me say this one more time. Until next time, stay grounded, lead boldly, and never forget, you are the game changer the world has been waiting for. My name is Oscar Starr, and this has been the GameChanger Perspective Podcast 2.0. God bless you. Have a great weekend. Thank you.